Hello everybody, welcome to this little live Facebook post in these crazy times we're living in, this whole coronavirus thing. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I certainly know for me, I'm so ambivalent about stuff. At one moment I'm feeling like, we're going to make this thing happen, and then other times I feel like, this is overwhelming, And it's not just us in South Africa, it's beyond that. I mean, I have a daughter who lives in Berlin, and she's been there for almost 3 years now. And, in Berlin, the intensity is the same there as it is in South Africa, but maybe even a little more so because the coronavirus has been in Europe for longer than it's certainly been here in South Africa. So, I kind of just sitting in my little study here and just thinking about these things and wanting to try and connect a little bit with you online. I have another daughter in Cape Town. She is very socially aware, and she's a very social conscious woman. And the other day she was shopping, she bumped into another lady. She never physically bumped into the person. She got chatting with an older lady there who had some underlying heart issue. I don't remember what it was. And I think Shani is sort of connected with her and offered to do shopping for her so she doesn't have to go out and be around the place. And that social awareness is the thing that we hopefully will going to raise consciousness. So as I sit here, as you know, many of you may know that Christine and I are renting a house out in Durban North, and we now have rented a place in Westbrook. We've got a lovely sea view. The other day I was sitting here in my office and check what I saw. Yeah. So, I mean, I just saw these dolphins and managed to catch this on camera. Anyway, so talking about the coronavirus, I don't know if you've seen Wayne and Tom's Facebook post around what's happening at Grace Family Church. As you know, I'm involved there. I've handed over, but still pretty much involved. And the president, sorry, I've got a distraction here. So the president of South Africa spoke about the state of disaster that we're facing as a country and the impact that's going to have on society. And it was really interesting to me that on Monday morning, Wayne and Tom had convened a meeting of the campus pastors and some of the other sort of main leaders at Grace Family Church, and I was there as well. And when I walked into the boardroom on Monday morning, Wayne had already put an agenda up on the screen, up on the whiteboard, and the first thing that he wrote, and I was so amazed, and I was so impressed and encouraged, the first thing he wrote about was care. How do we care for people? How do we care for our congregation? How do we care for our staff in this time of disaster, really, this pandemic that is really occupying a lot of space in our hearts and in our minds? And third or fourth on the agenda was the direct impact it's going to have us on Sunday services, of course, with the president's sort of telling us that we can't meet with more than 100 people at one time. I mean, I was really impressed with Wayne. And Tom, these guys are wanting to lead. Wayne made this statement, and I don't think I'm quoting him exactly right, and he was quoting somebody else. So this is a quote of a quote of a quote. So I don't know how all that happens. And he said that to acting speedily on a plan is better than having the perfect plan and being slow to act. And so we convened, and Wayne convened the meeting with Tom. And for about 4 or 5 hours, we kind of reflected on what this means for people, for how do we care for people, how do we care for people in our congregation, and how do we care for our team, our staff, and all these kind of questions that we were looking at. And the truth of the matter is, we're in a new reality. We're in a new reality. And of course, in times like this, we need to be concerned. We need to be concerned, not fearful or panicky, but concerned, and we need to be engaged. We need to be proactive around our personal hygiene, around social distancing, around washing of hands, not touching our face. I don't know how you're doing with that. I mean, I haven't been out this morning, so forgive me as I touch my face. But have you seen those videos that have gone around where these leaders of the world said, social distancing and don't touch your face, and then you see them touch their face. The one lady licks her fingers to turn over page. It's just so habitual to do that. But I'm sure your consciousness has been raised. Certainly my hygienic consciences have been raised around these things, because I want to not. The worst thing that can happen is that if I get the virus, that I pass it on to somebody else. So in all these things, we're kind of working through the reality and the and the urgency to do things well and to try and contain the spread of this virus. But at the same time, as I was thinking about these things, it's also an opportunity for us to be creative and to have redemption or redemptive action. And that's really what's on my heart, as much as, and I've spent a lot of time on the spread and the hygiene side of things, but I also want to just take a moment to think about the redemptive action that we can take place. And as we were meeting with our leaders at Grace, and they were preparing for care and care of the people, and speaking about how, we can care for one another. We can shop for people, for the elderly. I watched Pick and Pay. They're going to open their stores an hour early for elderly people to come and do shopping in that place, because they are the most vulnerable people. And I think that's fantastic, and we can be the same as a church. It became apparent in a staff meeting we had yesterday that, as with you, I'm sure, you've got kids at home now, and they can't really go to places where kids are entertained normally through the holidays. So some working parents have to contend with this, and Wayne met with working parents in our own team yesterday to help try and formulate a plan to make this season a little easier, as we travel through these hard times. Guy met with our staff who use public transport and how we can help them and engage with them in these sort of actions. So I'm today wanting to say that as much as we need to be concerned and we need to have social distancing and we need to be aware of our personal hygiene, it's also time for action. And this kind of action that I'm talking about is a redemptive action, not to be sucked into the kind of conspiracy stuff that's going around, God's judgment, end times. Listen, it's not about that. And it's not, and going into that doesn't help people today. What we need today is proactive action, people who have got a heart of courage to make a difference in some way, shape, or form. And that, at the very least, Jess has done some posts about this, and at the very least is that we engage well with people around about us. You will know by now that we've decided to we haven't decided. We've been told by our president that we can't meet in groups of more than 100. And I mean, that's impacted people. I know friends of mine whose weddings had to change. They've had to ask guests not to attend weddings that have been planned. I was to actually conduct a wedding next week, and that wedding has been postponed. So the ramifications are quite enormous for people around this stuff. So when it comes to Sunday services, we were very clear on this. We're not cancelling anything. On the contrary, we want to kind of ramp this thing up. We want to see if we can use the opportunity of this difficult time to take the gospel, to share our faith, to encourage people with what Jesus has to say about what it means to live in difficult times. And I know we can't meet in the venues that we have traditionally, but we can meet online. And this is a great innovation for us, that we can actually ramp up and perhaps reach more people if you will help us to get involved. Those of you who call Grace your home church. And even if you're watching this and Grace isn't your home church, whatever church you're a part of, if they're streaming, whatever plan they come up with, that you would kind of just, that's it, get involved, participate and respond with a sense of, we're going to make a difference. Yes, we're going to be careful. We're going to have the various sanitization things around the place and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to touch it. We're going to elbow bump, as the president has taught us to do, and we're going to do the right things. So I want to encourage you to really step it up and invite people, family, friends, gather around a phone, a laptop, a tablet, a smart TV on Sunday, 9 o'clock when we have our services, and to see if we can get traction around this stuff. And we can actually perhaps have the biggest attendance service ever at Grace Family Church. Not in a building, not in a venue, but online. I think it's possible, and I think it'll be incredibly exciting. If you are part of Grace and you usually give through the services, this is a time for you to get your EFT or your Zapper thing kind of connected as well. But here's what I'm really asking for. This is the difference. So here's my call to action as I kind of wrap up this little Facebook Live. First of all, if you know somebody who doesn't have data and they can't get online, why don't you buy them some data? You know what I mean? I went and did some research, and I realized you can get, I think for like 15 Rand, you can buy a person like 100 megabytes for a day. Hey, how's it to Margaret and to Jolene and to Pierre? Nice to have you with me on this broadcast today. But we can buy somebody. I mean, we can do that for somebody. We as a church are looking as to how we can do that for people in our church who perhaps don't have enough data. Now, we don't want to buy data for people who are going to give it to their 17-year-old who's going to go gaming until midnight. We're talking about helping people to connect online. So that's the first thing I'm asking. The second thing I'm asking is that everything that we bring from grace to help people to hear the message of God, to hear the message of how it is that we can go through suffering at difficult times like this, is to share it on your various social media pages. And that way we spread the message around. Like I said, I would love to think that this Sunday and the following Sunday and for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we know that at least until Easter we're going to be doing online services. And we would love them to be the most highest attendance services that we've ever had. How cool would that be? And that we touch people's lives because we have the medium. It's accessible. We can do it like this. So from about 8:40 on Sunday morning, from about 20 to 9, the stream will start going. And there may be a little bit of action. You may be able to watch some of the pre-service action that's taking place. And then at 9 o'clock on the dot, we're starting with about a 50-minute service. We're having our full band. We're going ballistic with some music. Then Tom's going to share a word on the subject. We're calling Falling Upwards. And all in all, I think it's going to be a tremendous Sunday. And then we'd love you to come live. Of course, that's first prize. But that service will be on demand the whole day. So after the service, you'll be able to share the link. After the service, there's going to be engaged. At the same time, we're going to be broadcasting something for kids as well. So we're just simply doing church in a different way. Jolene says, let us know who needs data. Thanks, Jolene. We're really working a plan around that, around how we can get the data thing going. But you look out for somebody in the meantime. Like I say, we're 3 days into this plan, and so we're still figuring it out, okay? And when I'm finished this post, share it with somebody else. And let's do this thing. I mean, listen, this is serious times. There are people who are sick. We know that. There are people who are vulnerable. But at the same time, we can make a difference. So thank you, those of you who've already liked this page, and those of you who've come and watched me, Becky and Sherry and others. So God bless you guys. Have a tremendous day. And Sunday from about 20 to 9 o'clock the service starts. And let's see if we can make it the most well-attended Grace Family Church service ever. Okay. All right. So there's some joy for the day. All right. I need to go and do some stuff in town now. So I'm going to wash my hands before I go. Don't worry about that. Hey, there's right out, anyway, I can't show you. Right outside my window, there's a flurry of birds and fish. God bless you. Have a tremendous day. Thanks for watching.